and he's talking about my guy. Bowles in this house. There's Todd Bowles in this house. There's Todd Bowles in this house. Certified free.
Yeah.
7 days a week, at least on Sundays, for Todd Bowles here.
Booyah, that's right. Todd Bowles' biggest fan is here. I've had that song in my head ever since Sunday night. Like, I almost sung it on the show this morning on Pro Football Talk.
Yeah.
We had a draft about unsung heroes, right?
Yeah.
As far as the Super Bowl was concerned, Todd Bowles is the leader in the clubhouse for me right there. And I thought about it, and I almost broke it out. But I didn't want to have to go through the long story of having Florio sit there and listen to it, make fun of it, and then me tell him, that actually, this is Ahmed and Reid's song. So I just didn't do it.
Well, and he was on you from the get-go. I was watching the beginning of the show. He was riding you, so it was like you didn't want to.
Oh, I know. For some reason, Aaron Rodgers keeps it real and says it exactly how it is.
Oh, my gosh.
He draws all these, like, oh, I think he meant this and means this. And then Russell Wilson comes on and makes 27 under-the-radar code references, and he's like, I know exactly what he means, so let me tell you. And that's where I was like, I've lost it. We have to have a fight here.
Let me say something about that, because you talked about it, and we're going to get into this is what the F happened with the Super Bowl. So this is the day where usually you go, hey, in case you missed the big game, we'll go over it again for you. But no one missed the big game. But you looked at it again.
Yes.
And we want to see if there's any more insight, if it reinforced what you thought before.
Right.
Or if there's anything different that you picked up. So we got that. We got a lot of questions from the homies about it.
Cool.
We have some Ask Me Anything about unrelated topics, including Carson Wentz and some other quarterback movement out there.
Awesome.
Your dad is coming on.
He is coming on. I'll be here in about 20 minutes or so.
Fresh off his Super Bowl performance on the desk there at CBS, so we'll talk to him. But that's a pet peeve of mine. And I heard you talking about it with Paul, and I agree with you. It's like we want these athletes to be honest, right? Give me like Patrick Mahomes after the game.
Right.
It's like, I didn't play well. Receivers
All-line didn't play well, right.
Offensive line struggled. It was just like, we always say, we want them to be honest.
I know.
But then we can't handle, it's like the movie line. We can't handle the truth.
No, I know.
We can't handle
the truth. Or we make our own, what do I want to say? Own references, or I'm not saying this the right way.
We read too much
We read into it to what we think he meant by what he's saying. And you want to go, no. He literally just said it as plain as day. And now we're going to make it into what we think he said. And that's where it's inconsistent. That's where I don't love it all the time either way. Because then some guys get away with that type of talk. Or, another guy, like, again, Russell Wilson yesterday, Dan Patrick had to ask him the same question 4 times because he was politicking around it. Yeah. But we're going to be okay and just like, oh, that's okay. There was no hidden reference. It's all okay, cool. Why? Just because it's Russell Wilson? I don't understand that.
Well, it's like you can either get the PC response, right? Or you can get the truth.
And I prefer the truth.
100%.
Yes.
But for some reason, there's every once in a while we go, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Well,
no,
why not?
I know, why not?
Why do we freak out if the guy tells the truth, which we want them to do?
And we're jumping off of this with the Patrick Mahomes thing because of what he said after the press conference after the game, and he said, O-line had issues. I didn't play good. I missed some throws. I wasn't on the same page as the receivers. Receivers ran some wrong routes, all those. And then it just goes, well, he's throwing him under the bus. And I just want to go, no. He gave a very honest answer and said he played like crap. The most obvious answer was the O-line played like crap. I mean, we all saw that. There wasn't you didn't need to be a football expert to go, well, they're not blocking very well. Yeah. We had people who tuned in on Sunday. It was the first game they ever watched, and they were like, man, they don't really protect Patrick Mahomes, huh? So that was apparent. He wasn't throwing anybody under the bus that way. At least I don't look at it that way. And I find guys like him and Aaron Rodgers refreshing more times than not.
Right. So when you say Aaron Rodgers says, hey, the future's uncertain, we don't know. That's the truth, right? Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, that's been the story. How are they going to handle it? How are they going to navigate it with a first-round quarterback?
Definitely.
And it goes back to Sam Darnold and Ghost thing. It's like we can't handle it. We're going to ruin it. If we jump on Sam Darnold for talking about ghosts,
we got to trade him. He's seeing ghosts.
Because we're always like, we want to hear what's happening on the field.
Right.
We ruined it. We ruined it by blowing that up, and now they're going to be boring.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good example too.
I didn't expect to start there, but that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, good. I like it.
To be honest,
I like Ahmed's pet peeves.
I got angry there for a second.
Good.
Right, I'm going to rein it back in here.
Rein it back in there.
What the F happened with the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Buccaneers, Chiefs, 31-9. In case you weren't familiar with the score, you went over it with Paul on Monday. And a lot of people are saying, oh man, it wasn't the Super Bowl that we wanted. It wasn't a great Super Bowl. I think it was.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it would have been more boring if the Chiefs had wanted a blowout, right?
Sure,
Like, oh, that sucks.
Kind of what we expected.
Exactly.
Right,
so
right.
I think, even though it wasn't competitive late, it was super interesting.
It was.
You looked at it again.
Yeah.
You watched it how many more times?
I've watched it 3 times total.
You'll watch it probably 1,000 times in your life.
Well, now I'll probably go
historian.
back to. I am. I'll end up watching it on TV a bunch of times
You
now
will.
too. I almost watched it incomplete last night. I think it was on. I was like, oh, should I sit down and watch this on TV again right now?
Your family is like, no.
Yeah, they literally were. My wife was literally like, "You're gonna watch this again?" And then my little boy chimed in from the other room and goes, "Is he seriously watching the Super Bowl again?" And I was like, "All right, I'll change it."
I'll stop at 3.
Yeah.
I'll stop at 3 replays so far. All right, so you've seen it again.
Yeah.
You had your ideas of what you think you saw.
Yeah.
Was it any different when you looked over it again?
I think the thing that I just come back to, right, and I'm just sitting there this morning, show's over, I'm going to eat breakfast, and I'm at a casual point of watching it now, where I'm watching, and like, here's just one page of notes, where I'm just kind of like, I was eating my cereal and drinking my coffee. Oh, that's, that. My big thing that I just continue to come back to, that I'm in shock of, and Pete knows this, he knows where I'm going, because I texted him a few things before we started to go, we got to throw some of these stats out there to make the point. The game plan of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's really all I can't get over. More than anything, when I look back at the game, everything like that, it starts with that, as if I had one overarching thing, right? Listen, I know Tampa was the more physical team and everything like that, but I still think the approach of Kansas City's offense, to me, as Johnny Football, watching the films, X and O's guy, is still the most shocking part of the football game altogether. It really is. And the more times I watch it back, the more times I sit there and just go, they were totally, I don't want to say out-coached, but just, I think, shocked by the plan of attack by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense.
They thought the Buccaneers would do the same thing. Were they prepared for the Bucs to do the same thing that they did in Week 12?
100%. 100%. I watch Kansas City every week. I've watched Mahomes throw I know their offense. They ran a game plan of, we're expecting blitz, we're expecting blitz zones, we're expecting to have big holes in the secondary with guys running down the field free, and our guys are great, stand in the pocket off his back foot, 20-yard, 15. They ran plays that you would run thinking, we're going to get some man-to-man coverage and some blitz zone looks that we'll be able to pick the blitz up, and now we'll tear them up down the field. Okay, that's the big thing. And here, and this is the big thing, because Kansas City's built around their offense. They dictate how the team goes. The Kansas City defense played good enough to win the football game. They did. They played they had less yards than Kansas City on the offensive side of the ball.
Had a goal line stop.
Right? Kansas City with some of the turnovers, short fields, the bad punt, short fields. Yeah. The defense's own penalties. Hey, listen, the 5-play, 71-yard drive that went for the 21-6 lead. Let's not forget, that was an interception on 3rd down, right? And then it was an incomplete 3 plays later on a 3rd down, and then they lined up offsides on the field goal formation, and they got another 1st down. So the defense really did things, and I know they messed that up themselves, but I'm saying they played well enough to win is my point. And the offense never got to a point where they got rolling to where Tampa's offense ever had to play under any pressure. But I think, just to get back to the point and everything like this, Tampa played coverage from the get-go. Egregious. And this graphic says it all.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, Mahomes versus the Bucs coverage here versus the 2-man, 15% of dropbacks, but it was zone 85% of the time. His 2 interceptions came against the zone. His 3 sacks against the zone. You're right. Basically all zone. All zone. And then, listen, the man, that's 2-man. So that's 2 deep, 5 under, man-to-man. And now they can be
really aggressive with their man-to-man coverage at the line of scrimmage because you go, oh, I got somebody behind me, so I can really, assert myself on slant routes, underneath routes, and things like that because I got help behind me. That was a big thing. So, to get into that, yes, all the zone coverages, as you see right there. First off, there was no single safety man in the football game. Todd Bowles he's famous for single safety defenses. The only time they played single safety was like true 3-deep coverages. And when I'm telling you true 3-deep coverages, I'm talking about 3 deep. I'm not talking about Seattle, we're jamming at the line of scrimmage, you're getting back. I'm talking the safety's 20 yards deep, the corners are 15 yards deep, and then it's 4 under. So it was like, we're deep. You're not going deeper than us. I mean, it was like, woo, woo, woo. Now, they did a good job of disguising and changing it up, and you don't know which one of these zone coverage is coming, but it was either 3 deep, 4 under, or it was 4 deep and 3 under, or it was 2 deep and 5 under man-to-man. That was the game. And now everybody might go, so what? So what was Kansas City supposed to do, right, to attack it?
Well, that's the thing, because there's no shame in thinking that the Bucs are going to do what they've always done, what Todd Bowles has always done. Because there is, yes, it was exploited week 12, but they came back and played pretty well after the first quarter. And there's this idea that once you get to the Super Bowl, go with what got you. Right? Because you don't try to be too cute.
I know.
You've got here with this, just go with it and try to outplay a man-to-man. So there's no shame in thinking that's what they were going to do, but I think what you're leading to here is to not have a plan B if you get something that's unexpected.
You got to think, hey, wait, we're kind of special. Can they really think that they're going to do what they did the first time and get away with it? Because really the first time around, too, I know the first quarter was big. And then the second, I know one of the things was, well, they didn't really score that many points in the second, third, and fourth quarter of that first matchup either. There was people open everywhere. Kansas City messed the game up the first time around. It should have been 45-10. They messed it up. It was that film there was where I was just like, damn, I don't know how Tampa's going to figure this out and do it. I mean, it really was. It was scary to that aspect. Now, I underestimated the protection problem, and anybody listened to my podcast last week, I was saying Todd Bowles has got to not be Todd Bowles. He's got to play coverage. I just thought Kansas City for sure would have an attack to just go, like you said, whether it's the main attack or, okay, they are doing this to us, let's go to plan B. And now let's attack these underneath coverages. And people might say, well, how do you do that and all those type of things? Listen, there's so many formations and things like that. This is like Tom Brady New England specials is these coverages. But the biggest thing is how I want to explain it. When you're playing these types of coverages, so many times, really, it ends up on the inside, linebackers being man-to-man and having to be in very tough situations. And ultimately, I just don't think Kansas City had enough of that in their playbook to really stress that out. Yeah, I know Kelsey had a few, right? He was the only thing. What they needed to have, like I told you before the podcast, they needed to have 10 more type of plays where Kelsey works underneath. And then another 20 plays for everybody else to also work underneath. There's a lot of different ways, and Kansas City has them in the playbook. We talked all year about how I was impressed how they grew their dink and dunk part of their offense because of teams playing them the way Tampa did earlier, or in the Super Bowl, teams were playing like that earlier in the year. But they obviously were not expecting this type of attack from them. And it just, to me, makes no sense from this aspect too, all right? One, I can't believe they didn't have that plan of attack. Two, your offensive line's in shambles. Your quarterback's not 100% and getting surgery as we speak 3 days after the game. That just tells you how urgent the toe is. And you're still just going to keep calling deep drop back passes and, hey, Tyreek, go 50, and McCole Hardman, you go 30, and, Sammy Watkins, you go 25. It just made no sense. It was like literally you were going, you guys are banging your head in the wall here. There's nothing to be gained. And that's where I'm just still shocked by the overall game in general.
So a couple questions here about a couple of specific players. Compass Traveler says, could Kansas City have tried to run more or use more players like Sammy Watkins? Seems like Mahomes looked exclusively to Hill or Kelsey. They've just been more varied in the weapons they used and maybe run the ball a little bit more, although they didn't do that really successfully all year.
I know. That's not what they are. I don't think they were willing to take that. I mean, that's what Tampa wanted. Tampa wanted to go, please run it. Slow the game down. That'll be our style of football. We'd be cool with that. So No, I still think at the end of the day, now listen, not to say in the future, do they need to maybe have more of a run game for games like this or something like that? Yeah, because they can get away with what they do against all of football, except there's going to be 2 or 3 defenses every year who will be able to challenge what they do. Now, like I said, I just am shocked by the lack of short passes and things like that. There's nothing more to it than that. The run game, okay, maybe we can infuse a few more runs here and there. But again, like you said, I think that's the point. They were going to go down throwing their third best punch. Like I think that's hard to swallow that. You know, we got there because of Mahomes, our passing game, the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm just, again, the short passing game. And then here's the other thing that they really screwed up with. If they packaged their plays against, here's zone plays that work against all zones. Little concepts that Andy Reid's got in his playbook. Here we go. We got 3 guys right here on 2. 3 on 2 in this part of the zone. Oh, we got 2 on 1 on this part of the zone. You know, oh, this guy's in the middle of the field and we got a guy underneath him and behind him. Now he's got to make a decision. Like, there just wasn't enough of that. Okay, so you have that. But then a few times, Ahmed, when they got to some of those plays that they have, Tampa played 2-man. And they're not as open against 2-man because now, like we were talking about, the 5 underneath can be really aggressive because they got help behind them, and that made some issues. So if they called a game where it's like, hey, blah, 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 or get in the huddle, and he goes, hey, 72Z spot, that's our play for all the zone coverages, 72Z spot, okay, guys? And then, hey, check and alert 72 stud. And that would be for the 2-man, which, again, I'm just using up words and making up things, which is stud was actually a really 2-man beater for us because it was an under and then an out route by the slot route. But either way, the game should have been packaged like that. They had no answers for 2-man either, really, throughout the game. So, again, they were obviously shocked by that. And I know I'm talking a lot here, and I don't mean to. But, yes. And then they hamstrung themselves, and a lot of the times, Ahmed, in places now we're in zone, okay? We got, a receiver to the left, 2 receivers to the right, all right? I got a back in the backfield, and, let's just say now let me repaint this picture.
Okay.
3 receivers to the right.
Erasing that last picture.
Yes, erase that last picture. 3 receivers to the right, 1 receiver to the left, the back in the backfield, and now that one of those receivers, Mecole Hardman, he's in the backfield. Now he's going to do one of those speed sweeps. Oh, he's faking the speed sweep, and now he's going back to the way he came, right? And they were running deep routes with now him in the flat, but like the Bucs had them in all those. They knew what Kansas City, because they didn't even spread the field in some of these instances where they tried to attack the field, it actually was a negative to them as well. Because now, in that play, if you're just listening to me, and I hope I painted the right picture, let's say you got Hill and Watkins on the right, and Mecole Hardman just did all that motion stuff. Now he's still on the right, okay? And now the receiver I'm telling you about on the left, he's coming across the formation and also going to the right, where there's a few plays where I go, they got 5 eligibles all on one side of the field. And the Bucs got a zone coverage, and they got all 7 guys over there. And I said, there's nowhere to throw. And again, it just goes back into what I'm saying is just I think they were shocked by the plan of attack by the Buccaneers, and they did not have enough inventory of plays to attack how the Buccaneers were attacking them.
So you mentioned him. We sang his song.
Yeah.
Bowls in this house. There's some bowls in this house. There's some certified freaks 7 days a week, including Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
NFL Latino wants to know, should Todd Bowles' game plan be held up in the same regard as Belichick's in that Super Bowl versus the Bills? What, 25?
Yeah. I mean,
because some of it you said was luck that, the play that the Chiefs had was the time that they were going 2-man. That helps. To totally change what he normally does in the Super Bowl.
It was amazing. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as the Belichick one, because that really was like nothing like that had ever been done, really.
What was that
exactly? They rushed 2 and 3 the whole game and dropped 8 and 9 the whole game. It wasn't even a front 4. It was literally 3 the whole game. And now where Buffalo dropped the ball is Buffalo had a run game. And they were stubborn and just said, nope, we've been good throwing it. We're going to keep throwing it. If Buffalo, that was a different story. If they ran the ball a little early, the Giants would have had to adjust, and then they would have been able to do what they did. They dropped the ball there. by just continuing to go, no, we're the K gun and we've thrown it. We scored 51 points in the AFC Championship game, and we're going to do it.
Isn't that funny that genius oftentimes needs an idiot to help you look even more
no
like
doubt
a genius?
about it. No doubt about it. Well, Todd Bowles' game plan was a genius, and I would say some of the people in Kansas City were an idiot in the last 2 weeks for how they attacked it. But Bowles' game plan, to me, not that I looked at it, because what's also crazy about Belichick and some of those game plans is there was times where I go, I don't know what coverage this is. This is cool, whatever they're doing. I knew what Bowles was doing. He just did an amazing job of being creative, disguising, and the biggest thing to answer the question more than anything and where it's really special is he went outside the box for what he has been really his whole coaching career. Yeah. And obviously Kansas City didn't expect that. And listen, I wasn't sure if he was going to do it either. I didn't know what to expect either.
Is there a blueprint now?
No, you have to have a really special group of talent to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to expect Kansas City's offensive line to be healthy next year, right? And also this will be the type of thing that is Andy Reid's going to go back to the lab with Bieniemy and go, we need 100 more short pass plays in our offense. Mm-hmm. Not like 5 or 10. We need 100. We got to find ways to, when people stop doing this, we can't let them do this. We're going to drop 7 and play these soft zones. There's no wide receiver screen game in Kansas City. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. I mean, none.
I mean, they get the ball to Hardman and Hill in creative ways usually.
They do, right? And then some of the more of the speed sweep, stuff like that. Yeah. But they need to grow. If they're going to play, hey, it's Patty Mahomes, we're going to throw the ball and do that, then they have to grow the passing offense to greater levels, and that would probably be the next thing I would say. All those plays you've seen, Brady to Edelman in those years. He's in a bunch, right? He gets the ball and throws it out there, and it's like the 2 guys in front of him in the bunch and the tackle all get in there, so he catches the ball 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and gets 7 yards before he gets touched, right? They need stuff like that because people are going to try to do this. There's no doubt. Is it a blueprint? Yeah, this blueprint was out there already. We had seen teams give them issues with this, and you got to have a special front four and a special personnel set to do it in general. Again, the Raiders did it earlier. The Patriots did it earlier this year. The Chargers did it earlier this year. Where I'm still shocked is because the Chiefs had answers for those as the year went on, and this game they did not. And I really think it was just we didn't think they would do this.
Tie a bow on the 2 quarterbacks in pressure. Do we have a couple of tweets here that indicate how that was? Stats by Lopez, I think I see here. Pete. So this is Mahomes and Brady in the pocket.
Isn't that crazy?
That's where they ran. And the one on top there is Mahomes, who ran almost 500 yards?
Yeah, on a bad foot.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, first off,
and there's Brady.
What's amazing, and again, I think we're going to have my dad on here in a minute. I mean, first, on his Showtime Inside the NFL show last night, I mean, you got to watch the clip, and it's on social media, too, for anybody out there. You got to watch Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the sideline watching Mahomes. They're in awe the whole game. I mean, they're not scoring a touchdown, and they're still in awe. Because they're just, how did he get out of that? We're going to get him. Oh, what? How did he complete that? He's a magician. Oh, my God. I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, it was amazing what he did in a lot of ways there the other night. That was about as overmatched as we've seen a quarterback from the team perspective as we've seen in a long time in a Super Bowl. He was in some very, very tough spots, definitely. And again, that's where I get into 3 offensive linemen playing 3 different positions, and we called a game where we were going to throw the ball 20 and 30 yards down the field the whole game. I'm just amazed by it. They got in empty formations a few times, Ahmed, and this is why I said it in the podcast last week leading up to the game. As I watched film of the first matchup, when they got in empty, I just went, this is it right here. Empty formation, there's spaces all over the field. Get it out of your hands quick. This doesn't let the pass rush get involved. I really expected to see that type of attack from Kansas City. And honestly, it was almost the exact opposite. It was like, nope, we're going to protect, and we've got a great offensive line, and we're going to throw the ball down the field. And that's where I can't get my head around it yet.
So, I believe we have your dad on the phone right now.
Cool.
Big Phil, you there? Can you hear us?
Ahmed, yes, I am here, and I'm on my cell phone because for some reason, in this modern world, our phone lines into the house do not work.
Yeah, that's the new way of the world. I learned that this year too, Dad. I don't know what it is.
Stuff just stops working. It just
landlines aren't good anymore.
They've fallen.
They're a lot of hooked up to the internet.
I have a special system too where I can dial into radio shows and have headphones and all that. and that went on the blink too. So,
okay. Well,
but at least it lasted through the year.
Yeah,
and it blew up this week, so I'm happy. But I heard what you said, Christopher. I listened to you this morning. You guys were very good. But what can I say?
Yeah, what do you think? Hey, Phil, what do you think? Your son's very critical of, not that the fact that the Chiefs didn't anticipate how Todd Bowles may coach this game and how different the Bucs defense may be, but that they didn't have enough options and enough ways to counteract all the things that Tampa Bay did. Would you be as critical as Chris on that front?
Well, first off, I want to just say about Mike Fuller and Christopher, my son, is they're like the old, what is it, that the Muppets, these two old guys just dare to argue, so that was fun. But yes, what he is saying is all true. If I'd had a chance, this is what I would have said exactly. Here's the game to me. The offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, 3 shuffled offensive linemen.
Right.
And how will the officials call the game against the Kansas City secondary, which is a grabbing, pulling, whatever secondary the whole year? And it turned out to be 2 big things. The fact that they didn't help more on pass protection is astounding. And what he is saying, too, when you spread the field, there was no way that Tampa Bay was going to go, let's man up. They're going to play zone, and which we saw in many games for Kansas City this year, which they got good at. Catch the ball. It's predetermined. Look it off. Turn and throw to a guy in a gap. And,
exactly.
And you just spread them out from sideline to sideline. That didn't happen as much. And Tampa Bay just took advantage of every opportunity, killing the offensive line. Nobody's, hand-checking or helping out. I think I saw Kelsey once or twice.
Yeah, that's about it.
Actually used his hands and hit the guy. I don't know if he even moved him, but just think about it. What do we talk about offensive lines all the time? Well, communication, they got to work together. So the first game this group works together is the Super Bowl. 3 different position changes, and we're not talking about all pros switching these positions.
Right.
And
talk about backups, really.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they were. But it turned out to be, it was bad. Could it have been different? Yes. Many things went into it. Decisions by Andy Reid and their coaching staff. Christopher said it. What they did really on both sides of the ball were baffling. And the other thing I haven't heard my son talk about is when Tampa Bay gets in certain formations to run the ball. And, hey, look, I'm not a coach. They didn't line up right on defense. They didn't line up. They were outmanned. I mean, they got a tackle, a tight end, the extra lineman in there over there, and they don't have any,
Yeah, one guy on the edge, like the long touchdown run. Yeah.
Almost like the Army. Don't get outflanked.
Right.
And they got outflanked, and I just go, oh my gosh! It was like I said, I don't study it or look at it. I've lost that ability to know certain things, but I go, oh my gosh, we got 4 guys blocking 2, because Kansas City, in my opinion, either called a bad defense and stayed with it, or they did not make the adjustments to the formations of the Buccaneers.
Yeah, no, there was definitely some of that. There's no doubt about it. Then they got worried about stopping the run, right, and doing that.
Yep.
And then they got into, hey, we're going to play man-to-man and try to stop the run. But, think about this. Remember the Gronkowski throw over the middle? He almost broke it for the long touchdown?
Yep.
See, Sorensen is man on Gronkowski. That was his fault. It was him. He's man-to-man. But he's also watching the run fake. And now they've been running the ball on us a little bit, and he came off as man. But Tyrann Mathieu was there behind him to fill that gap. That's why Tyrann Mathieu, when Gronkowski's running down the field, his arms are like this. He's going, wait, who's covering him? You were supposed to cover him. What are you doing? I had that run gap. So to Dad's point, they made a lot of mistakes like that. And, Dad hit it. Dad, I want you to just hear this, because I don't know, and I know you've been working a lot the last few days. But, Kansas, going back to Kansas City's offense and the spreading the field and what you talked about and everything like that. The Bucs, Dad, they never played single safety man the whole game. In fact, they only played man-to-man, 2-man, and it was 6 times the whole game. The rest of the game was all quarters push, 3 deep, 4 under, 4 deep, 3 under. I mean, that's all it was the whole game. And I didn't know if you realized that. I guess that's what I'm just asking. Did you realize they didn't play man-to-man or really any single safety defenses in general?
Well, when you're there at the game, it's so – one, we didn't get to talk about it, so it didn't matter. But the other thing is you see it, and it's hard to see a lot. I did try to go to another room and watch it on TV, and too many distractions. Couldn't hear, really couldn't see, and all that. But I knew enough. And what they did, of course, they played them like they did the second half of the game in Week 12, a lot of it. They learned. Right. They adapted. They changed. They really kind of changed their offense and defense according to what went on in their first game, which we ordered, when we talked to Bruce Arians last night, he kind of answered those questions on Showtime. So, yes, I knew it, and here's what happened. You're talking about it. I had made notes about Week 12 and said, my gosh, the safety, I forget which one it was in Week 12, he was 27 yards deep from the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And they were almost doing that. I didn't look at it because I look at these dumb things sometimes, but I studied the film all day Monday with Matt, which was really interesting too.
Yeah.
My gosh, he was telling me things. I go, whoa, let me write that down. I'll never get to say it, but that's really. But the Kansas City Chiefs, to your point, were thinking man-to-man. They were actually just standing there, the safeties and whatever, and just going, okay, come on, keep running. You're coming right at me. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're coming across the field, and I don't have to move.
Yeah.
And if he throws it, I'll intercept it. That was, to me, incredible. And the other thing, we'll get into that, I'm sure, but the other thing before the half, the timeout.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you next.
14-6.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. What did Bruce Arians tell Tom Brady as he's going on the field? Hey, look, be really careful. Don't take any chances if we do throw it. And go ahead and don't be afraid to throw the check down. Because all they wanted was a first down to get out of the first half.
Right.
That's all. And run it. Great job by Godwin getting extra yards on the screen. Really safe throw to Gronk from the slot, whatever, how they did that, a quick out or whatever.
Yep.
And then what do we do on Kansas City? Okay, at best, we're going to give Tampa Bay now, give them a long, really long field goal chance.
Right.
And, let's play bump and run and challenge them. Oh, my God. That I have to tell you, that was the moment you just go, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
That's 2 games in a row that you just saw in the championship game and then the Super Bowl where defenses, you're scratching your head how they played at the end of the first half against Tampa Bay. Full credit to Tampa Bay because I think there are a lot of coaches that would still, even given those opportunities, still would have been like, it's too risky.
Right.
You know what I mean? We'd
right.
fourth down before.
Here, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
This is what Bruce Arians told us. We kind of figured it out, and I'm just trying to quote him as close as I can.
Yeah.
We were going to get better at running the ball, which they did as the year got towards the end. They stayed with it, the formations, and, of course, Fournette and Jones, they turned into monsters. They took every 2-yard run and made it into 4 yards.
Yeah, right.
Which was awesome, and it fits the team and what they want on offense perfectly. He goes, and we decided if we're going to throw it down the field, we were going to make it easy on Tom. We're just going to run deep.
Yeah.
And just throw it, So, and you saw Brady take some chances down the field, but he overthrew them, by 5 yards every time because he didn't quite like it enough to really take a chance, and he just aired it out. So there it was at the end of the first half, and he sees that. He goes, well, good. I'll just air it out and throw it high, and they get the pass interference, which was a huge difference in the game. And then when they get down there, the defensive calls, were, again, in my opinion, were awful.
Too aggressive.
They were awful.
Yeah.
Too aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right, so wait, so really, I want to unpack a few things there. First off,
go ahead.
The timeouts. Right. Like, listen, I said this on Monday. I was sitting there on the couch with Philip and, my wife Danielle going, man, really? It's 14-6 and it could be worse. Like, let's just go in at halftime and let's call it that. But listen, I also can sit here and say I try to be a reasonable human being for the most part, and go.
You can't make reason, but go ahead and try.
Okay, but Andy Reid being aggressive, getting the ball back into Patrick Mahomes is also what's gotten them there and got them where they are for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to do, I want to get your take on that because I'm trying to defend Andy Reid. Like I'm just saying, listen, I didn't agree with the decision, but I don't think it was like the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
To try to get the ball back
and put pressure on let Mahomes jumpstart the team and see if we can do the old double, New England Bill Belichick score before the half, get the ball back at the second half, and go do that. Yeah, but go ahead, Dad.
Okay.
Talk about it.
51 seconds to go.
Right.
Okay. They're on the 29-yard line, if I remember right.
Yeah, around there.
And, okay, so after the first two plays, now I'm not, because that's the thing about coaching. And this is exactly, I don't second guess, I would have said it. You got to play it both ways now.
Yeah.
In other words, you keep the clock moving, whatever this, if you're Kansas City's defense. And they did not do that. So once they gave the, I'm kind of lost my train of thought there. But not to tip, what was there to gain by calling that timeout when it was 3rd and 2?
Yeah.
Now that's when you play it both ways.
Right.
You let the clock run. And if nothing else, you call a timeout with, 10 seconds or something to get rid of some time on the clock.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Right.
So I thought that was the biggest. Now, let's say they stop them. And I say to this, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Look at the game. We're in a different situation.
Right.
The game is not going like it usually does for Kansas City.
That's right.
And you're going to get the ball. Let's be good. Let's be kind. On the 25.
Yeah.
At the best. Okay, now you have no timeouts.
Right.
And what do you think? Tampa's killing your offensive line.
Yep.
And they're gonna catch it. You're gonna tackle them, and nothing's coming out.
No, that's the point, Dad. That's exactly the point. There's nothing in the first half that showed that was going to happen, and I'm glad that's why we talked it out.
I don't mean to say this.
Yeah.
But really, when I did games, it was the best thing I was at is managing the clock.
Yeah, sure.
Because I was taught by great people, and to this day, I can figure those things out quick.
Okay.
And as I was watching it, and doing games and doing what I do now, I can say I don't ever second guess. I don't go and wait at the fact to go, I'm going to change my mind here. No, I don't. I guess and make my decision before it happens. And you can ask the guys that, have you ever talked to them, Bill Coward, all that, we always go, nope, kick it, punt it, don't do it, don't go for 2. Why are you doing it? And, I admit it if I'm right or wrong, but even if it works, I'm still not going to say I was wrong because it was too big of a gamble and not worth the risk.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I haven't really talked to Dad about the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess you could tell. We talked during the game a few times. All right. But I just want to ask some basic. Chris Simms is a fan and like to hear Phil Simms' answers to this. 100%. All right. Big Phil, in person. Just give me the in-person look test, right? Because I always go to this because, Dad, I can still remember at the Buccaneers-Raiders game back in 2002 Super Bowl, right, that year?
Yeah.
I can still remember I talked to Dad in like the first quarter, the end of the first quarter in the game, and he just went, Christopher, it's over. He goes, the Bucs are moving at a different speed out here. And I was like, really? I was like, it looks like they're better on TV, but is it like that? And he was like, they got no chance, the Raiders, And the in-person look test is a real thing. So just like, what did it look like to you in person, Dad?
It looked like top-notch, big. It looked like Alabama playing their opening game of the season against one of those teams they're going to beat. And of course, we know it's not that, but I'm just trying to be extreme with the example.
Right.
There was two things. Just the ferociousness of Tampa Bay on both sides of the ball was evident.
Right.
The size of the teams was evident.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is not Scotty Miller is the only exception almost on the team. Their offensive line is humongous.
Right.
Their defensive line, when you look at it, speed on the outside, humongous on the inside.
Right.
The linebackers, they're good size, whatever. They're great.
Yes.
The secondary's big.
Right. They are.
Todd Bowles loves Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
Let's get some big DBs and
big
safeties or for what we call in the NFL, and it was really when I saw it in person, standing there, we're way in the end zone. Like I said, I went back and forth just trying to pay attention to the game.
Right.
But sitting there, it was unbelievable, and the speed of Kansas City because of the way the game went. It never occurred to me like, wow, they're so much faster than the other team. I didn't even think it once.
Right.
And I think last thing, and then Ahmed, I want to hear some questions from you. We're sorry to hog it all. But the last thing is the 3-year run for the Chiefs it does take a toll mentally and physically. One team, I know it's the Super Bowl, but one team was just on fire emotionally, physically. The other one wasn't, because no matter what, you can't create that. It kind of has to come with the territory and how you fought to get there or whatever. And Kansas City was on the end of a 3-year run.
Right.
And, I don't know.
Yeah, that wears you out.
But it's an unbelievable strain. The interviews, the pressures, not getting the time off that the other teams get, all that stuff, I think that is a little bit a part of it. And, of course, without a doubt, the Andy Reid situation, man, I mean, that had to be somewhat of a distraction.
Definitely.
And emotionally gets you down, too. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, Phil, so I got a couple questions, and Chris got me thinking about one, like you're in the building, you're there. It hasn't been many times where people have been allowed to be in the same arena as
right.
What was the atmosphere like? Because the Super Bowl normally is a little weird, right?
Yeah.
More of a corporate crowd anyway, so it's quieter, not the same raucous atmosphere. But this was completely different than that. What was it like being in there?
Well, I don't think the noise was ever a problem for either team, as far as I could see and watch. But it felt like, to me, at least 90% of the crowd was all Tampa. And I did see, not a lot when we were doing pregame and all that stuff. I did not see a great deal of Kansas City jerseys and that walking around. But my gosh, Ahmed, you talking about, I mean, everywhere I went, nothing but one jersey.
12.
Chris Simms.
That was it. I went into our hotel. They had a huge
tell him that,
thing in there. Not one jersey of anybody but Tom Brady. it was. I went and we weren't really allowed out of our hotel room, but we were allowed to go pick up food if we wanted. So I went to this place, stood at the edge, kept my mask on, did everything I'm supposed to do. Of course, I was the only one that had the mask on. I was, and the bartenders there. But I make the order, and I just look around the place, and it was amazing. It was no exaggeration. I think I might have seen a couple old school jerseys. I saw Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks once or twice.
Right.
Their jerseys. But that was it. And
fully converted.
So the team, they're crazy down there about Tom Brady. And, of course, I think I said you guys don't get to see that. I know you didn't watch CBS Sports, but we did an hour post-game show. And I said, I know this. Buy your tickets now because the Bucs are going to sell out.
Yeah.
And, they're crazy about it. It was just the atmosphere, just from the Buccaneers standpoint, was really, really evident and extremely positive, of course.
Yeah, so they had the crowd advantage. They had all that. They were playing in their home stadium. Some people said, Phil, that during the game they also had the advantage of the calls. I want to get your
I want to hear
opinion
this too.
on some of those penalties. First half, end of the first half, pass interference in the end zone that helped them. Tripped up Mike Evans on the sideline one time where it seemed like feet got tangled up.
Well, yeah, that was the long one.
They did.
I mean, Mike Evans, he tripped the other guy. The other guy fell on him and then tripped him.
Did the penalties have a material effect on the game, and were they warranted? Were they the correct calls?
Well, let's go back to the first one, the interception.
Yeah, let's do that.
And, watch it on film. And you have to watch it a few times. First off, that was Mike Evans, right?
Right, it was.
Okay. Mike Evans puts a left hand, and
yes,
was that L'Jarius Sneed on him?
No, that was Breland too. I believe.
Breland, okay, Breland.
He puts his left hand on him and tries to chuck him downfield, right?
Oh, he chucked him good.
He did.
Smacked him right in the right shoulder,
right,
and kind of knocked him off. But yes, Breland does.
Then he holds him after
a little bit,
right.
But here's the thing that tells me the story: is the play bounced up there is intercepted. Mike Evans walks away with no emotion, little down, whatever, and then somebody yells, wait, there's a flag, and he turns around and goes, yeah, whatever. So when a receiver, Mike Evans is a great receiver, but he will call foul almost every play. And when the play was over,
he didn't call foul. I know. He
walked away from it like nothing. And to me, that tells part of the story. And it tells me a lot of the story. And but, of course, they called it. The one down the sideline, when the heels click, it's not a foul.
Yeah.
It's incidental. And what I think, Christopher, maybe we did say this to each other when we did have one conversation, that why didn't they get together and the NFL intervene and say they clicked heels? Because it was hard to see with the naked eye during the play.
Yes.
Now, so was that a big play? Yes. And we've already said it. First off, why'd you get in that situation?
Yeah.
That's the other one.
Yeah, no doubt.
So in the one in the end zone, but, Tyrann Mathieu, I have a little problem. Look, he moved a foot. He stood there, and the receiver just kind of ran right into him. He did move a little to his left and hit him, but Brady was really just the whole time, he just threw the ball away.
Yeah, I know.
And, I watched the official. As soon as
it was unbelievable.
Moved,
it was unreal.
Pulled that thing out and threw it so fast. It was the quick. I tell you what,
it was the quickest flag I ever saw. I honestly, that's to me is one of the weird things of the game, and I don't mean to cut Dad off, because Dad and I think what Dad's telling you is, listen, we all thought that Tampa Bay was the better football team, but those calls there cheated us out of a much closer, more exciting football game. And it was not within the consistency of how things have been called during the playoffs. Like Dad said, on the interception with Mike Evans was walking away going, that's every play I've had in the playoffs. There was no pass interference. Yeah. And then he saw the flag, and, of course, then he does it's on them. Of course, because it's always on the defense. But yes, I just was disappointed by that. And, listen, right. I'm not trying to – I just felt like it was really quick flags. Really quick flags for Kansas City. Everything. Ndamukong Suh punched Patrick Mahomes in the head, and they did not
Couldn't see that when you have one guy that watches the quarterback strictly.
That's to me, again, I'm not trying. It was very weird officiated game. Let me just tell you another one. You know the penalty where he gets hit in the head at the end of the game, and they finally call it, right? When they had the party on Patrick Mahomes, and Sue and Devin, I think JPP hit him in the head. I'm telling you, the referee didn't want to call the penalty then either. He just was like, I think he might be dead. I might have to call it here. He did not.
The way his neck
You
snapped
can't
back,
see him on film reach for his flag. He's in the background for a while. It was literally, I think, one of those things where he's like,
if he's dead and I don't call it.
Yeah. Sue knew he was in trouble as soon as he hit him. And there still was no flag on the ground. So, again, that just is not that they were the better team or anything, but the reffing was very odd for a Super Bowl. I cannot let that escape.
You take that, the game management, the game plans, all that, the physicalness and the intensity that the Buccaneers played with. Look, I heard you say it this morning, but Devin White, even after this game, I think, of course, very highly of him and always have. Loved him coming out in the draft. But this game was, and, we argue this on Showtime. Oh, he doesn't deserve the MVP. He only made 12 tackles. I go, what? Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
The coverage when he had to, when they said, okay, enough of these dump passes, they didn't play man. They were just kind of picking the guy up there, and they did a great job doing that too.
Right.
But, it is amazing, just to argue with people, which we did yesterday, which we always do. Yeah. But Tampa Bay, what they did on both sides of the ball and what they did with Tom Brady, somebody says, well, Jameis Winston, I talked to somebody this morning, Jameis Winston last year. Wait, stop. I know, don't start it. It was a different offense last year.
Yeah, right.
It was different. Jameis was mobile. He was young. He could get out of trouble, which led to trouble most of the time. But he really can get out of trouble, and he doesn't care. He loves throwing it down the field. And that's what they were all about. And, yes, was he reckless and all that? Yes. But this offense, how many times well, I'll ask you, Christopher. I know you watched it. You know. How many times was there just a five-man protection?
Oh, you mean with Tampa? It's
with Tampa.
Yeah,
was there any?
The whole game was. I don't know if there was really, Dad. You're right. Now that I sit here, because the one thing I wrote in my notes, the game was just screens and play actions. That's all they did.
That was a question, because we want to give Like the Bucs offense, they scored touchdowns, right? I mean,
yeah,
you got to give them
I know.
credit
Well,
here.
the story of the game is the other side, but yes, we'll hit that too.
Anthony
sure.
K. Goodwin asked this question. I feel like
Right.
the Bucs offense brought some new plays to the game. The absence of Big Evans and Godwin plays felt like they were trying out new pass plays while keeping the run game up. Did you agree? Well, yeah, you were just about to say kind of the things they did there.
Well,
that kept him going.
the offense of Kansas City never got going to the point where they could start to put the pressure on the Bucs to where they ever had to leave their comfort zone. So they were always able to just go, we can still run it on first.
Was there
and
anything
second.
new there?
No, just think about, well, not really, but think about like the first 2 third downs of the game. The Bucs went 3 and out and 3 and out.
Yeah.
Guess what happened? It was 3rd and 6 and plus every time. That's when Kansas City and Spags are awesome. That's Brady's worst down. Oh, no, now there's crazy blitzes and people around me, and that's what he doesn't like that.
Right.
They couldn't get the game into that at any point of the football game. And the biggest reason is just because their freaking offensive line, like Dad said, just absolutely mauled a defensive line that we've seen answer the bell against Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans, the 49ers, the Cleveland Browns a few weeks ago. They stopped everybody. It's the first time in a long time I've seen the Kansas City front get pushed around in a game.
The best offensive line in football?
It's the biggest, most physical, I think, that right now. That's what I would say, yes.
I mean, that was one of the things I talked about all week. The Tampa Bay offensive line, it's just got to be. And listen, I talked about it last year about how much I like their offensive line. Now, Tristan Wirfs comes in there. I don't know what it is with some guys, but he went from college, Iowa State, Iowa, I remember,
right,
and to the pros. I go, did he just get taller and bigger, or what is it?
I know.
He and Donovan Smith at tackles. Listen, as I always, it is my favorite line, and James Brown loves it. I go, if they bent over and get in their stance, you can show a double feature on their ass.
Yeah,
how big they are, and they just. You can't overpower them. They got great feet. They're tough, rough, all that. And, I watched their line really close when I watched the game, on Monday.
Yeah.
And I just go, oh, my God, they were out for blood. They were really, really aggressive, running down. I mean, there's Donovan Smith. I don't know how big he is, Christopher and Ahmed, but
330.
He's 3 at least. He's pulling around, and he looks like a damn big fullback. And I think it was him that pulled around and got the block where Fournette went untouched in the end zone, I think.
No, it was a left guard. It was the guard. Yeah, it was the left guard. But one of those formations you talked about where it was extra linemen, 2 tight ends in, and they don't have enough people over there, so they just block everybody down and kick the corner out.
They it down, kick one guy out.
Yeah, the corner. That's it.
I mean, I could have literally sealed somebody on that play the way they lined up defensively. I'm serious too.
Yeah, I think
so I'd have went in there. Yeah, I'd have got my butt tore up, but you wouldn't have made the tackle.
Right.
And when you get those kind of angles on defenders, they can't beat you, especially when you're big and physical and all those things. But again, their offensive line was tremendous, really, all year long, and they even got better when Bruce Arians he told us. He said, "Hey, we made an effort. We got to run the ball better." And they did start doing that at the end of the year with those formations and stuff like that. Do you remember doing that last year, Christopher?
What's that?
Robert? Going in there with an extra lineman, 2 tight ends, all that stuff, and just trying to run the ball straight at people.
Oh, I mean, let's see. I'm going to say the only team I was on that was ever like that. Is that what you asked me, Dad?
Did you see him do it
last year?
Did
Tampa Bay do that last year?
I don't recall that last year. I don't recall that. Yeah.
Me neither.
I don't either. No.
But Jameis is probably thinking like, I would have liked that. That would have helped.
Well, it's okay. It doesn't matter. But listen, this is the way. It was perfect for Tom Brady. He's going to make sure we're getting the right plays. Okay, protect him. And Brady at 43 is still an unbelievable thrower of the football. That's amazing. Then to answer that question of our guy, they didn't do anything special. And I'm not trying to disrespect our question there on social media.
They just did what they do really well.
They just went, okay, now they're trying to stop the run. It's one-on-one. Our guy's better than theirs. Brady will throw a strike and eat that shit. And that's really all they did.
Let me go.
Go ahead. What do you want to say off of it, Dad?
Well, the one thing, I always say this, I said about Jared Goff. Well, he misses guys, which is, you can miss in the NFL. Everybody does. But he misses a little too much. But he never makes the great throw.
Right.
Well, I know he does, but you know what I mean? Every game as a quarterback in the NFL, now more than ever, you got to make 2 or 3 great throws.
Right.
And the throw that Tom Brady made to the back of the end zone to Gronk was absolutely
insane.
Top 5 for his career. I mean, he stood in there, you know, it was a long time.
Right.
And I don't know how to say it. It's like hitting a driver in golf where you go, oh, my God, did I flush that?
Yeah.
And he ripped it. And Bruce Arians comes over, and, you know, it's great, the NFL films, and Bruce Arians go, way to hang in there, way to, you know, just, you know, the whole, just Bruce was, listen, his interview, did you watch his interview, Christopher?
No, I did not see the intervio yet. No, I did not.
He's hilarious. He's hilarious. I mean, you know, it was great. It really was. And he's just what you think he is. I'll say this about Bruce Arians. He's unbendable in a lot of ways. He still coaches like he's back in the 70s and 80s. It's about being very direct. And, you know, he's not going to, like, treat one guy this way and another one that way because he's not that kind of coach.
Yeah.
He tells the truth, and it either destroys you or you get used to it and you get better because of it.
Right.
And he tells the truth. I mean, no filters, whatever, to everybody.
Yeah.
And once you get used to that, it just makes you better. It really does. And, you know, there's nothing worse than the coach goes, hey, well, you know, that's okay. You know, you'll just keep trying, good tries, and then they cut you 2 weeks later.
Phil, not to cut you off, but I agree because that's what if you have a coach, you want to know what they're thinking, right? It's
where
like
you
I don't
stand.
want you to go
honest.
behind my back and rip me if you're not going to do it to me. If you're going to do it behind my back, you might as well do it to my face, so at least I know it and can try to improve. And Bruce Arians.
Well, he not only does it to your face, he does it when he gets behind the mic.
We'll read about it in the paper the next day. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just,
I mean, now it's double pressure. So
yeah.
it never really, you know, I didn't do it a year. Oh, I said, you can't say it about Tom Brady. I mean, I go, well, he's doing it too, maybe to send a message to Brady or whatever. It's just who he is. And it's always about, okay, guys, listen, Tom Brady's like one of you. And you know what it did? It brings the team closer to Tom Brady.
Yeah, it does.
That's true.
You know,
that's a good point. Yeah, you rally around that. All right, I got a question looking into the future for both these teams to wrap up, tie a bow on this Super Bowl conversation. Yeah. We'll start with the Tampa Bay side. And, Kristen, we got a graphic on the Bucs free agents here. This is a question that comes from M. Smudge 1984. So looking into the future now, you win one, but we can't dwell on that. You know, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
They didn't win a Super Bowl today.
Right.
You got to worry about winning one next year. So who is the most important 2021 free agent Tampa needs to keep? That is the question from M. Smudge. You got Gronk, you got Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin is in there. Shaq Barrett, Levante David, and Ndamukong Suh. Wow.
Well, let me just say this right off the bat, all right? Just right off this, and Dad can think about it a little bit. I mean, first off, Gronk,
I got it.
Gronk is coming back.
Okay.
There's nowhere else he's going. I mean, he's best
TV.
friends.
He got a taste of TV and wants to get back into it.
He got a taste of another Super Bowl trophy. He wants that. So he's coming back. I would be shocked if Antonio Brown's not back. And I will also say, I don't think there's any way Chris Godwin's back. I just don't.
I don't think he's back.
I don't think so because I think he is going to be able to command $17, $18 million a year, and they just can't keep everybody.
Okay.
So who's your pick, Dad?
Well, you said those right. I think they'll keep Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, I'm with you too. It's too special. It's too premium a position, right?
Yeah, you lose him, it changes. You know, it truly changes your defensive front.
Right.
You know, it takes power away from the guys inside. And Ndamukong Suh's a free agent. Look, he's in Tampa. He wants to play on grass. He's on a good team. And you know, I know it's easy for me to say, but he's really made a lot of money.
Yep.
And we all know he's been really smart with it and who he's involved with and all that.
Right.
I think he would take whatever is best for the team.
Yeah.
And I think he would stay too.
I agree.
Really
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, seeing him up in person and watching him, wow, is he big.
He is big, right?
Oh, my gosh. When he takes off, you just go, boy, don't get in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that screenplay said it all. He took it, and he ran in there and lowered his head, and I tell you what, they went to hit him, but everybody was trying to hit him on the leg. They weren't going to try to take him on.
Yeah.
He never had that magic with Tom, though. It was like there was a potential that it could be the superstar relationship of quarterback receiver.
Good year.
Too many people getting the ball.
That's what it is.
There were a lot of weapons.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
Too many weapons, and they're going to run the ball and all that a little bit, just a little more than they're probably used to, and it wasn't as wide open, crazy like it was with Jameis. And so he's going to get it. And I think, who's the other guy that we're missing?
What do you mean, the Scotty Miller, the receivers, or what are you talking about?
No, one other free agent. Isn't there one more free agent?
Well, yeah, go ahead, throw that graphic up there again, Kristen, if you can. But I mean,
offensive side, defensive side, Levante David on the defensive side.
Levante David will be interesting. That'll be
interesting too.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's going to be able to command pretty big dollars to what Dad's saying. And it's just it's going to be hard.
But with a lot of those guys, you mentioned Gronk, Brown, Fournette, they've kind of hit the sweet spot with some of these veterans who've made some money that are just like, I just want to continue to do this. And I don't need to maximize top dollar. I want to win another Super Bowl.
Well, Dad hit it right, though. The Shaq Barrett's one's the one.
Shaq Barrett is the guy.
Shaq Barrett's, again, he led the football in sacks in 2019. 2020, still damn good. And he's more than a pass rusher. That's the thing you got to love about the Bucs D. JPP and Shaq Barrett are beasts in the run game, too. They're beasts.
Yes.
They're as good as they get on the edge of a defense. So that's where they can't lose them. And the team's framed around that. So I would be shocked.
All right, now for the Chiefs.
I covered Shaq Barrett as a rookie free agent in Denver.
Yeah.
And I just kept going, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get over it, how good he was.
It took him a while.
He was stuck between DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, and he was drafted out of Colorado State. Nobody knew about him, so he was in a really tough spot. But like Dad's saying, when he got on the field, you were always like, who the is this big, strong on the edge over here?
Yeah, I mean, I said it to the Broncos many times. They just go, well, he went to Colorado State, so they had an eye on him just like Philip Lindsay, another one. How does Philip Lindsay, when you just look at him and the speed and what he did in college, just go, well, let's throw a stab at him in the 7th round.
Seriously, I know.
But I know there's so many unbelievable things and people coming in the league, and you got to go with what you need or want, all that stuff. But there are some free agents that just go, wow, there's just so many players. Maybe they can't get true evaluations on all of them, and those two, they really stick out. That's for sure.
All right, last one for you, Phil. Then we'll let you go.
I got one other question. Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
You go first, Tom.
Then we'll add one more to the end of it. Chiefs side of it. So we looked into the future for Tampa Bay. Here's Chiefs side of it. We got the 2021 Super Bowl odds provided by PointsBet Sportsbook. Chiefs are number 1 according to them. Green Bay, 2, Baltimore, Buffalo, and then Tampa Bay.
I don't get that.
So that is your
Why is Tampa Bay not right with Kansas City? I don't understand that.
That is curious.
Okay, but go ahead.
Because Tom Brady, he can't do it again.
Yeah, right.
44, but you're right, complete team there. This question, Phil, comes from the Fantasy American Football Pod. Should the Chiefs fear the Super Bowl hangover? So we've seen it, right? I mean, 49ers had an injury issue, but they were not back, and we've seen it time and time again. Happened to the Rams a couple of years ago. Not only do they not get back to the Super Bowl, they have a hard time making the playoffs sometimes. What do you think? Are the Chiefs going to be different? This has been a long run for them, a bunch of years in a row here now, it seems like. Are they going to have a hard time getting back to the top of the mountain?
Well, if they have a Super Bowl hangover, they're still going to have a great year and be fighting for top playoff spots.
Yeah,
that'll be if it's bad. Yeah. They're going to get 3 premier offensive linemen back, hopefully.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Duvernay-Tardif, if he decides to come back, which I just have a feeling he will.
Yep.
Because he's been in contact with Andy Reid the whole year and everything.
Yep.
And, he's a good player. Schwartz will be back, so that Fisher will be back. So there you go. That changes the whole landscape of the whole football team. And they don't need much, they really don't.
No.
And now let's say they just weren't as hungry. Hey, they'll be hungry now. They got humbled, and it's almost it's amazing when you lose. We just kill the losers.
Yeah,
yeah, we do every Super Bowl, and it's incredible. Bill Cowher always says, "Man, it's better to lose the championship game than lose the Super Bowl."
Yeah,
and,
I hear you.
You think, well, no, I want to be in the Super Bowl. No, but you're talking about just when you lose, because. But I think the Chiefs will be right in the top again next year. I do.
I
can't see any reason why they won't.
Yeah,
a lot of young players. They're basically going to keep everybody. Well, they're going to lose Sammy Watkins. So what?
Who cares?
So what? McCole Hardman, what's going to happen? He's got to turn into a productive player.
Right.
He's got to do more. They got to do more with him. He's got to – hey, he was a first-round draft pick, man, and it's –
second round, but still.
Oh, he
either
was
way.
a second rounder.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, that's all right. It's still they need to do more.
He's got to do more.
Yeah.
He's got to show them that, hey, we got to get the ball to this guy more and quit worrying about trying to get everything to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I agree with Dad. Just to answer the question real quick, I don't think they're a team that gets worn out.
It's a lot of football.
It's a lot of football.
Years.
It's just not that culture there. It's not that culture of like we're grind. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect. But Andy's just got a great culture of this is football. Yeah. This is fun. We're going to throw it. Hey, we got this play. You guys are going to do twirls and a backflip, and we're going to say set hut. Isn't that fun?
It's not going to work in the Super Bowl.
It's not a grind, and then they win on top of it, and they're playing a style of football that's fun. With a quarterback that everybody just goes, man, this guy's the guy. I would have a hard time thinking they fall into the doldrums of oh, man, another grind of the year. Yeah. I don't think they're that type of team.
Andy Reid told me, because I talked about this with him, about the grind 3 years. He goes, look, Phil, first it's about the plays. And they'll draw them up, and one of the coaches will go, well, we can't do that. Andy Reid would go, why not? And I just, you start laughing. He goes, why can't we do this? And he goes, the players love it. And now the players are drawing up plays and giving them to me.
Right.
Let's try this, coach. Let's shift and, whatever. I just go, really? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, everybody's in on it. They all love it. So that's one thing. But his motto, or how I think I said that wrong, but whatever, who cares? But get them in, get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to the facility. We're going to work hard real quick. We're going to, boom, I want you to get out.
Right.
So mentally and physically, he tries to keep them fresh that way. It's not we're going to sit here and stay as long as possible and I want everybody staying in the complex till 9 at night watching film. No, he really believes that they got to keep their mind at ease at times, and he does a really, look, I know he does. I've been around him too much doing games and talked to him over the years at every, Philadelphia and in Kansas City too, a lot, knowing that it really is his motto, and it works very well for his football team, no question.
No doubt. You the man,
I'm not betting against.
Oh, yeah, wait, you got a question for us.
One more question.
Right.
Oh, I got a question. Russell Wilson.
Right.
That's it.
Well, I heard y'all talking about. No, it's not it. Come on.
that
what
was
do you think he's doing? Hey, look, here's what it is to me. It's the Patrick Mahomes syndrome. Hey, Russell Wilson's going, man, oh man, I could do that. I want to. Why are we doing? And Christopher, I heard you and I could talk about it, about that offense and everything, and what Russell Wilson would be great in an offense that just let's exploit him.
Right.
Let's exploit him. And that trickles through the whole team. We've seen it work with Kansas City. And now your defense is always playing with different scenarios and all that, and it can help them too.
Yeah.
Even if the talent is the same.
But Mahomes has Andy Reid, and Pete Carroll's not Andy Reid to where he believes in that. That's the issue there, right? I mean,
well, I know that. Right. I know that. Sometimes, Christopher, hey, as you know on TV, hey, I swallow and take it, okay? And that's what it is. And I think Russell Wilson is very unhappy with it. And all that, and he's listen, you're a competitive guy. And I used to sit back when I played and go, man, so-and-so gets to throw it 40 times a game. Let me throw it 40 times.
Right.
He did early in the year, right? They were throwing quite a bit.
Yeah, no, yes.
Yeah, they were. And
right.
you know what? They're crushing it.
Right.
But then they had 2 games. Oh, my God, he threw some interceptions and, and all that.
All
and then
changed.
they go the opposite.
Yeah.
And, he got sacked 40 times or whatever this year, or I forgot the number. But, you got to – Deshaun Watson did too. And it's not always because we have a bad offensive line. It's the way the quarterback plays.
Yeah.
So, Deshaun Watson, I would say overall was protected pretty well this year.
Right.
But he's going to run around and make plays, and he's going to take some sacks, and big damn deal.
Right.
Oh, look at the sacks he took. So they got to get a better offensive line. Hey, the sacks, and by and large, probably with the grand scheme of their season and what they do, probably meant very, very little. And it's really the same with Russell Wilson. But if you give him a little more freedom and move him around and do the things, I'm not saying try to duplicate Kansas City, but do some of that. And I'll tell you what, he won't take as many sacks, and he will make it look a lot easier, and it would work. I know, hey, I'm just telling you, that's what it is. That's what he wants. He's back there. He's prideful. He's seeing all these quarterbacks just ripping it up.
Right.
Having fun, baby.
Right.
That was easy. That was easy. And, Christopher, you said it right. Let's drop back, and here's the route. And I watched their games.
Yeah,
and
it's nothing. They do nothing. They do nothing easy for them, nothing. It's always just the degree of difficulty throw is on a 9 or 10 on the scale, and we hope he can, be a 9.5 or a 10 on this throw. It's
well,
never.
and Brian should, and that'll be the last word to say. And Brian Schottenheimer, you know what he is? He's a soldier. What do you want, Pete? Okay, going to do it.
Right.
I'll do it.
Right.
And he's got to be sitting in his office at night going, "Oh my God, what do I?" He's got, it's probably the easiest thing to do in the NFL is to draw up pass plays, and whatever it really is. Designing a run game and making that work takes 5 times the work it does for a passing game. So I'll leave that thought with you guys. Christopher, I'll tell you more tonight in private on the phone.
Okay, sounds good. Good shit, Dad.
Sorry, Ahmed.
Thanks,
Some
Phil.
things I just can't say.
Well done. That's all right. That's
You're the
all
man,
right.
Dad. I'll see you.
We'll get him on a Chris next
Ahmed,
time.
good talk to you.
Good talking to you,
Ahmed,
too, Phil.
get some more questions ready. Get your ass in the conversation.
Deal. I like being a passenger most of the times here, though. It's
no,
good.
the hell with being a passenger, man. Get in there and get dirty. Let's go. Don't be afraid of throwing an interception, okay?
That's a good call. Good call. Unless it's the
See you,
Super Bowl.
Dad. You're the man.
Right.
See ya. Be good.
That was good. That was the first time you've really kind of gone
we
through the game.
really have not talked about. We talked during the game.
I'm not going to upset a father and son talking about the Super Bowl
well,
game.
You could have butted in anyways. I wanted to be like, when was he supposed to butt in, Dad? I mean, we couldn't say anything. So, but no, it was good. I really have not really had a deep conversation about the game with Dad since it ended.
Yeah.
During the game a few times, and of course we text because yes, he is at the game, right? And he's just, hey, thoughts on the game? What are you seeing? And I, a few thoughts here and there, blah, blah, blah. So this was the first time we really got to talk
Seemed
about it.
like he saw it the same way you did.
I
It really wasn't anything different.
I feel like that is the case. I mean, from there, just from what you heard there. And, again, it was an interesting game in a lot of ways. But, yeah, I think Dad, which he kind of echoed, the plan of attack was a little odd by Kansas City. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The Bucs are the bigger physical team. We knew that.
When we put the points bet odds up there,
Yeah.
you were surprised Tampa wasn't higher. Would you put Tampa over Kansas City?
I would have them at the least equal to. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I really don't. I'm like that one to me is like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Maybe it was just because of the injuries on the offensive line, the injury to Patrick Mahomes' toe. If you take that out and you assume like everyone's back to full health.
Yeah, you're right. That changes the game. I would love to see that game if we could see that again. I really would. I'll sign up for Super Bowl 56 in LA. We'll be there if you can give me Mahomes and that O-line at full strength against Brady and the Bucs and their team at full strength. I would love to see that.
So Chiefs over Tampa, you can see that, but you can't see having all those. What was it? Baltimore ahead of Tampa.
The Green Bay Packers, some of those
some were
teams.
tied
I'm just
with them
like,
there,
what?
plus
How is that possible? I really don't get it. But I'm interested to watch my dad's. I only saw some of the Showtime show, the Inside the NFL last night. I didn't get to see the Bruce Arians part. I don't know how I missed it really. But yeah, I love watching that stuff. Again, it was a tough day. Mahomes was still phenomenal. I went on a bunch of radio shows yesterday, and people, again, it wasn't his best game. It wasn't because of Patrick Mahomes, though. That's where I just want to make sure, because, again, I didn't walk away from the game going, oh, he just threw the ball bad and missed. The guys were open. Or
it was even the incomplete passes were like, that was amazing.
What an amazing play. 4 touchdowns dropped on a difficulty scale between 1 and 10 that were 12. Like they were off. Like nobody in the history of the sport could have made these throws. Whether you talk about Hill between his hands, off his head in the end zone, the other Darrell Williams when he's on the ground and throws it off the ground 40 yards off his face in the end zone. 2 plays before that, he scrambled and threw to Demarcus Robinson, who dropped the ball in the end zone, and then Kelsey's third down play. So you really, Mahomes did just about everything you could possibly do.
Yeah.
With that, they were out-coached, they were out-physicaled, and the refs were apart. And I'm not trying to say it. It was I want to echo this again. Yeah. I just want to echo it one more time. One of the most odd referee games I've ever seen. I'm dead serious. I think this puts it in perspective. Tom Brady has admitted that he was the one in the wrong with the personal foul on Tyrann Mathieu. He ran after Tyrann Mathieu, and they threw the penalty on Tyrann Mathieu. That is just shit where I just go in this game like, what? I don't understand how the game was being reffed. And again, I don't think it matters because the Bucs would have won no matter what. But we could have been sitting there at like mid-fourth quarter going, it's 28-20.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the referee screwed us. And I just don't understand the approach a little bit. Like I said, like Dad said, my dad never attacks refs. The guy was throwing his flag before Brady threw the ball. Literally, Mathieu took a step towards Evans. Yeah. Evans had already kind of run into him, and he was throwing the flag already. And you're like, what? Well, how about we watch where the ball lands? And look, Brady wasn't even trying to complete it, and that wasn't PI. And the biggest point, and I'm glad he wrote it because I forgot it, and I wrote this down. Evans' reaction on the first interception, to me, said it all. Dad was exactly right there.
He didn't react.
He didn't react because he went, this has been every play in my whole playoffs. Well, why would it matter now? So I just think that's weird, but congrats to the Bucs.
And you're upset, too, because when the replays happen, you can't justify watching the whole game as much because it was a blowout in the second half. And your wife can be like, oh, it was a blowout in the second half. If the refs hadn't made those calls, it could have been close all the way throughout. Well, so that when you watch the replay, you can justify watching the whole game.
It was a whole season of the referees getting together and going, hey, like this, how they did let's get together, we're talking about the play, but we're just waiting to see the replay and hear from the NFL so we can tell and change the flag. Like Dad's right, with the incidental contact, it's out of the textbook.
I will say this. Yeah. It did seem like there were a lot of times where they could have called holding on the Chiefs. I did notice a few there that they didn't call, which they haven't called all year. Same thing that you just said.
Well, they called them during the year. They haven't called them during the playoffs. That's where it's just weird. And that's where the NFL's got to fix that whole issue altogether.
All right, that's it. That's
it.
The button up on.
Boom.
I do want to get one more thing. Yeah. One more topic of conversation, but that is it on Super Bowl 55. Okay. Does that button up the conversation?
Yeah, I think we got it all. We hit it all.
All right, one final.
Actually, one more thing.
No, it doesn't.
One more thing.
A premature button.
I love that Tom Brady did all the Instagram stuff showing love to his defensive players.
What was it? I didn't see it.
He did a video on each guy a little bit and what they did.
He didn't do it.
Well,
his
whatever.
Team.
I don't care. His team, either way.
He's not using.
I think he was very aware of the fact that he was getting a lot of credit.
Sure.
And he wanted to spread the love, and that's where I love Tom Brady for that. I really do. I love that aspect of him. I love watching the videos of this family after.
I wonder if he's become a better leader in Tampa than he was at the end of his tenure in New England.
Well, he probably feels like he's a little more leash and rope to kind of just
to be that guy.
New England's a little weird, where even if Tom Brady started coaching too much, they'd be like, we got it.
Yeah.
They wanted the coaches to coach, the players to play. And then, of course, Tom Brady was allowed to do, whatever you wanted to a degree. But I'm sure he felt a little more free with Bruce Arians and company.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, does that button up Super Bowl 55?
Sorry.
All right, we button up that. We have one more button to close up, though. And I think there's a lot of stories to talk about, and we got a ton of Ask Me Anythings, and we'll save all of them, because we have a whole off season to talk about whatever the homies want to talk about. Yeah. And I think those are some of our best shows.
Yeah.
When we just go in different directions.
I agree.
But I think there's one topic of conversation that could be changing over here in the next few days, and that's Carson Wentz.
Ooh.
Where might he be going?
Right.
And you tweeted out something along the lines of, I think this is it, Carson Wentz needs out of Philly.
Yeah.
It's over for him there. After one bad throw or drive, the fan base and city will sour on him. Needs a fresh start. There were some people that took exception to you saying that, calling out the fan base there in Philadelphia. They go, we're not that bad. We've been painted poorly. They are that bad. But here's one of them. Ken Bergman says, Chris, that is lazy to pick on the Eagles fan base. The issue is with Howie. If Carson comes out and says he's ready to win a Super Bowl, puts on his charity softball game, which the fans have always supported, and goes to work, the fan base will have his back. And then we got a couple like that. They're in support of the Eagles fan base.
He's right. This and he's right in a lot of ways. But he's making it personal. And really, if we take 100 Eagle fans, there's 4 or 5 like him, but the other 94 or 5 are like what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I go on the radio and TV in Philadelphia all the time. This is all I answer. So obviously it's the topic. And is Carson Wentz the guy or not? And we don't think he's the guy. And tell us why you think he's the guy. So it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's not, yes, Howie Roseman, the Eagles have put him in this situation in a lot of ways. There's no doubt about it. They certainly haven't helped it. And, of course, they really hurt it last year by drafting Jalen Hurts and creating that issue. So I know, I'm not saying, but that's just the perception is what I'm trying to explain to our Eagles fans out there. I know there's a lot of them out there that see and respect what Carson Wentz is doing, and I understand this guy is right here as well.
Anders B22.
Yes.
Philly loves Carson. They hate what the GM has done to cause this downfall of a once promising future.
So Philly, again, does not love Carson. That's not, I can't get behind that and go, okay, because you said so, I will. You love Carson. There's some other fans that I know do love him. But, I mean, the year after the Super Bowl, it was Nick Foles. The next year, it was, why did we let go of Nick Foles and keep Carson Wentz? Oh, wait, now he's taking us to the playoffs. Hey, he is pretty good, Carson Wentz. And then the next year, it went to Carson Wentz is trash. Can we see Jalen Hurts? And now, again, the reality of the situation is I understand there's a few, but no. Mm-hmm. The national media and the majority of the fans in Philadelphia do not support Carson Wentz. They're
ready to move on. Pete notes here, what's funny is that half of the mentions in your the replies to your tweet are saying that Eagles fans do not hate Carson Wentz, and the other half is saying that the Eagles fans are right to hate Carson Wentz. So not only do they do it, but they're justified in his in the hate. Yeah. So Pete has put together a little ranking. Rank the parties responsible for Carson Wentz's downfall in Philly. Is it Doug Peterson? Is it the coaches? Is it Howie Roseman, front office, management? Is it Carson Wentz himself? Or D, Eagles fans for not being more supportive of their number one pick? You can say Eagles fans here to get even more hate.
No, I don't. Replies. That's not it. That's not it. It really isn't.
If they had been nicer, this would have all gone well.
Hey, Eagles fans are tough. We know that.
But, in your defense of Eagles, like you were saying the same thing last year about the Bears. It's like any franchise in this situation is going to have pretty much the same reaction. With the Bears and Mitch Trubisky last year, you said the same thing, right? He comes out, throws an interception. Everyone's like, why are we going with Mitchell Trubisky? No different with Carson Wentz.
I don't think it's much different. Yeah. That's the big thing. I mean, again, the issues there, I think Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman are at the top for sure. I mean, yes.
So they're 1 and 2.
They're 1 and 2.
Who's 1?
Ooh. Okay, I'll go with Howie just because I think lack of the talent around Wentz to help him out was the number one issue.
They tried. They got Rager, right?
They tried, right. But I know that was a point of contention down there.
Yeah.
That was I've been led to believe that Rager wasn't on their board where they drafted him. That this was a Howie Roseman special. That's what I've been led to believe. This was him, and he put his power on the scouting department and said, I want him. And they were like, no, our board says he's farther down the list. So that is also him. Yeah. And then Peterson, yes, I'll give him some there with, maybe I want to say different plan of attack on offense sometimes and things like that. And then
Eagles fans and then Carson himself.
Well, I'll throw Carson on there. I think Carson.
He didn't have a good year, right?
He didn't have
not
a good
help
year.
Around him.
I don't think he embraces Philadelphia enough. That would be my other thing to him.
I'll be interested to see if he goes somewhere else
and tries to embrace it
with a better setup.
Yeah.
If he's able to succeed, if he's able to lead and succeed, because there are questions. For sure, right?
No,
about his leadership style.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I understand it. I mean, yes, we've all heard the rumors and those things. And then there's inklings I've seen to go, ooh, I think that justifies the rumors, what I'm hearing, and things like that. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. Listen, after those two things, really, after, like, the Roseman, Peterson, Carson Wentz, and then really I would rank it and just go, bad luck. Hey, bad luck. The guy dove in the end zone, tore his ACL, and somebody else got to come and win the Super Bowl, and that put it and made it a very tough position altogether.
And bad luck. You got injuries on the offensive line this
exactly.
year,
That added to it.
Good.
So more bad luck. So yeah, bad luck's a big issue in this too.
So where do you think he ends up? What is it? Bears right now, Indianapolis.
Right, which I don't see the Bears happening. I've been led to believe he doesn't really want the Bears to happen, and I argued on Monday and on PFT yesterday, why would the Bears want him? So we can be in the same spot, Bears, and you can, if he has a bad game, everyone's going to go, Nagy and Pace can't evaluate quarterbacks.
But you don't think he's a significant upgrade
definitely.
on Trubisky,
He
right?
definitely is. I just think it's a risky trade for them. Okay? I do. I don't think, and again, I guess I'd like to see how they're going to play football this year and do that. Are they going to try to be what they were at the end of the year, run the ball, bootlegs, things like that? I don't know what they're going to do. I just think that's a risky one for both parties in that, because the jump off is there to go, why would you want Wentz, or why you guys can't evaluate quarterbacks? It's very close. So, I mean, the Colts still seem to be, to me, to be the leaders in the clubhouse. But after that, I have no inkling of who else it will be. I think we need a few dominoes to fall here first.
There's so many dominoes.
That's what I mean. A few have to fall, I think, maybe for the Carson Wentzes of the world to figure out where they go. What is Carolina going to do at quarterback? Washington, what are they going to do at quarterback? Of course, the Jets, what are they going to do with the number 2 pick, or stay with Sam Darnold?
Yeah, Jacksonville, too.
Yeah, the Jacksonville, the Deshaun Watson issue. The Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. There's just too many things right now that are uncertain, so it's hard for me to pin him to anywhere right now. The Patriots.
When Aaron Rodgers goes over to your boy Kyle in San Francisco, then, the Green Bay Packers need to get Carson Wentz.
I wish.
It is, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Do you think it's going to fall flat? Do you think ultimately it's like Rodgers stays put, Watson stays put?
The Watson one, I'm not ready to say.
Put.
I think they all stay put. I do think it's going to end up being more underwhelming than we were expecting.
Yeah.
I am. I do expect that. So, yeah, I don't expect movement with any of those names there. I don't. Now, again, there's just a lot of teams, though, that have quarterback questions. The Saints, do they stick with what they got there? Taysom Hill and Jameis. And a lot of teams where you don't know what direction they're going in yet. But the Wentz and Philadelphia one's certainly to watch out for. And, the other talk of just about that is, the picks for Philadelphia and what they're going to get in return. I don't see how they think they're going to get a boatload of, big-time picks in return.
He costs so much money.
He costs a lot of money. You got to get that. So some team is taking that burden, let alone, again, there is the risk factor. There's a aura around Wentz of we're not sure he's the guy.
Right.
And you have to, I think that takes the value off of it, let alone we're pretty sure he doesn't want to be there either, which also takes the value off of it. So I'm just interested to see what they actually get in the end game here for Carson Wentz.
So the blame meter, we go Howie Roseman, management 1, Doug Peterson 2, Wentz himself 3. We're going to throw bad luck 4. We're going to go Pete through Bud Light for building that Nick Foles statue is 5.
Right.
That did not help.
Right. And then the fans 6.
And then Eagles fans
See how
last.
awesome I am with the fans of Eagles?
We got to tweet that out.
I'm so nice to them.
So that's the pod. We have so many other AMA questions, but it would just take us in so many different directions that's a whole pod in itself right there. And we have plenty of times to do that, although not next week because you are taking a breather.
I'm taking a week off.
What?
I'm taking a week off. Well, we got all these things compiled. We're going to answer all of these questions. And we're going to get back into, 2 podcasts a week after next week. and we will definitely have more fan question involvement. I'm going to start breaking down free agents and looking at film and trying to put guys in spots and do all that. Of course, and I'm going to start breaking down draft and quarterbacks and all that stuff too. So we got plenty of topics to talk about.
And we do have some interviews that you did during the Super Bowl week that we will air
for the week off.
For the week off.
We have content released on the normal schedule next week.
So don't go anywhere.
Had some cool interviews during Super Bowl week that we withheld.
And next time that your dad comes on, I'm just going to interrupt him a bunch of times and be like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, this is what you asked for last time.
You're going, I'm not scared to throw interceptions, Phil. Screw it. I'm talking. Shut up.
Yeah. And he goes, I regret saying that.
All right. Everybody be good out there. Ahmed, you the man. Thanks for driving the ship today. As always, everybody be good. Hit you up. We'll see you next week. Not that I'll be here, but there'll be plenty of content to check out and some good interviews. Yes. I promise that. Peace out. Everybody be good. See ya.
Clap it up.
Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.